Background image, there really isn't much else to it. We already know. You might be able to guess what we're supposed to do. And that is, well, read it in, first of all. So let's go find it. There it is, background. If we look at that, it is the background, as we know. And then we need to use a layer. This time we're not adding it to it. So the background image, when we're doing compositions that involve something literally layering on top of something else, the lowest image comes first, and then the subsequent higher images come after that. In this case, it didn't matter, because we're just adding them together. Any numbers added together, it doesn't matter what order they are. But in this case, we're not going to use an add. We're going to use the default, which is an over. An over looks at the alpha this time. The over says, well, start with the first image, and then the next image, add it to that based on where the alpha is. Obviously, we didn't add a lot of. Well, I can just show you. If we did say add, it's actually a little bit brighter because now we're not adding it based on the nuance of the alpha, where it's thinner in some areas and denser in others. It should be darker in these areas where the alpha is lighter. And if for an interesting little thing to see just why we had to bring the alpha back in, if we didn't copy the alpha in, this is what it looks like. That maybe doesn't seem that different, but it is quite different. Look how dark it is around the edges. It's almost like it's outlined with darkness. This would be like a easy mistake to make if you didn't realize that the alpha was wrong. What's happening is, if we look at the alpha before we copy it over, again, everything's super bright, but the alpha is extending further out from the edge. And it's extending further out into the black area because there's just black surrounding this. So some of the alpha is now bringing over that blackness into our final image. So again, this is all compositing stuff, but this should be enough to get you by. So once again, we can modify now the background separately, and that's the beauty of this. If you decided, I want to friggin' have a green background, you don't need to re-render your like day-long render anymore. Now you can just drop a color correct down right here and say, you know what? Green. That's what my artistic vision is. Green background, or not. I'm just going to say, let's just bring the gamma down on it. The darker it is back there, the more this whole thing will probably pop anyway. So we still see the shadows and such. So that's nice. We could even break this out and have only the environment light be down and keep. Let's just do it. Because I'm talking about it anyway. So just grab well, I'm sure we'll get in trouble doing that. So just grab a channel copy and say target the color. We want the environment light direct. This is the one that we're going to actually turn down. But so we also need the geom light direct, which is just these little bits of brightness. Maybe we want to bring those up. Color correct. Like so. And then again, layer these back together again. We don't have to worry about the alpha this time because the alpha for this is just solid. It's just the entire back. There is no nuanced alpha here. So now I can just say, if I found an image where there is, let's say, so like here's a frame 3, where we do see the geom light contribution. So now I can say just bring down the environment light, but not the geom light. And there you go. Although I can't really see it anyway, but that's the idea. Real quick, while I have you here, we might have been able to accomplish a similar thing without splitting it out here. Because again, there are lots of other color operations. I don't know why this isn't working very well. You see that happening, right? Anyway, there's lots of stuff in here. Color replace, color correct, change things based on a curve. The one I want to talk about real quick is levels. I like to use levels a lot. And I should also say, just like how we were talking about mantra being like, here's the render we're using now, but maybe you might use other renders now or later, but the concepts apply. It's the same thing here. I mentioned Nuke. All of these nodes are in Nuke with different names. Like, seriously, this is called the merge node in Nuke. This is called the grade, these are called the grade nodes in Nuke. This is the read node in Nuke. And this is the shuffle copy node in Nuke. So it's all the same stuff. It's just, you know, how fast is the program? How about the rest of its pipeline support stuff? They're all fairly similar. Anyway, we can use levels here to say, hey, maybe make the darker colors even darker, but retain the colors up here. We can also do it similarly with the outputs here. So what this is saying is any brightness lower than this number becomes this number, which is 0. So this is saying the darker colors, we call this crushing the blacks, meaning crushing the black values of here. That would be a way to do it in a nice, smooth, kind of intuitive way. This would be anything brighter than this number becomes this number. So this is basically bringing out the white values here. I'm going to stick with our color correct mode here this time, but explore all the different things that you can do in there. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Maybe I brought this down a little too much. I'm going to bring it up a smidge. Yeah. Very good. So you can see, finally, we went from this to this. It's brighter. Now it has a background. We might even say that we did we do anything here? I forget. Oh yeah, we did. So we brought up the actual shininess of the geometry lights. So very good. That's it. So to actually write these out now is we just need to do a where are you? ROP file output, and just it's 1 to 120. Let's just put it somewhere. I'm gonna make a comp folder. I guess there already is one, and we'll call it whatever this node is called, version 0, current frame, and I'm gonna put it back into the EXR format. Oh, that's VO. There we go. And we'll just call this ROP final image. Very good. And this won't take very long at all. I mean, it basically takes as long as it takes to scrub here. So I'll see you in a minute. I'm just gonna run this and then we'll review it and then we'll be done.